Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program Capital Beat. BSP Supremo Mayawati on Sunday, that is yesterday, she sacked her nephew Akash Anand, who she had earlier declared as her heir, as national coordinator, and said that she would not make anyone her successor till she was alive. Now, Akash Anand has been stripped off his post for the second time in this year. Last year, if you remember, he was sacked as the BSP national coordinator, only to be reinstated after a few months later. And now Mayawati has appointed Akash Anand's father, Anand Kumar, and another leader, Ramji Gautam, as the party's new national coordinators. And so the big question is that by doing so, has Mayawati shot herself in her foot? Is that a kind of a political suicide which she has made? What will be the impact on the other BSP members? And how is she really going to revive the party without a young leadership, given the fact that UP elections are not far off? They're just scheduled in 2027. And how is she going to take forward the party? That's the big question. Joining me now is Sunita Aron, a veteran journalist, author, and political commentator. She's also consulting editor to HT Lucknow. Thank you so much, Sunita ji, for joining. We have Puneet Nicholas Yadav, senior editor with the Federal, and he's written a piece, a beautiful piece on what happened yesterday, and he's filed the entire story. Puneet, thank you so much for joining. And I'll begin with Sunita ji. Sunita ji, how do you really see this move by Mayawati of sacking Akash Anand once again?
As you said, once again. So this is the second time when she has removed him. And I think everybody was expecting something to happen against him after his father-in-law was removed from all the positions and thrown out of the party to Siddharth, that is. Now, as you said, you were talking about whether it's a suicidal step or is she saving the party, because what it looks like is that she was suspecting some anti-party activities somewhere by either of them, and it's because of that that she has removed him. Now, as of now, I think more than her successor being known to everybody, what is more important is that she gets active, for the survival of the party. I think more than successor, it's the question of the party's activity, how far she'll be active in subsequent elections, because we have seen that she has adopted a very laid back approach, either under pressure from the BJP or whatever the reasons is, like everybody says that she fears arm twisting after her brother was booked in certain cases. So the question about successor is that Mayawati, unlike Kashiram, once he took a decision of appointing her as his successor, there were so many people who objected to it. His buddies, who had campaigned, who had raised the movement along with him, who traveled with him, objected to her, elevation. But Kashiram stuck to his decision and he said, no, I see merit in the lady and she will be my successor. So many people, if you think about most of the co-founders, they all were thrown out. They were removed from the party and it was done. But here what is happening is that she's not able to trust Akash Anand. Well, the first time when she removed him, we knew that it was because of an FIR. FIR was lodged. We thought everybody speculated that she's being very protective about Akash Anand. Now, Akash was making some waves. He had started making some waves because, generally the BSP followers like to listen. They like vibrant leaders. Why Mayawati became Mayawati is because of the language, the tone, and her tenor, where she took on the upper caste leaders who they believe has, meted ill treatment to them. So then everybody thought he has been removed because of BJP pressure, or because he was helping party gain. Now, BSP has been a spoiled sport basically for the opposition in the last few elections. This time, when she has taken an action, it's clear that what I haven't spoken to anybody, but it's very, very clear that somewhere she suspected that they were either trying to split the party, but Does Mayawati really worry about the split in the party? Because they have not worried about splits, desertions, divisions. That is not something that BSP has ever worried about. So I think it's a matter of trust. It's a matter of his father-in-law, his wife activities, which we'll have to find out more than Akash Anand per se, because he in his tweet has again said that he'll be working like a BSP cadre, and his like he faces a challenge. It's a long one, but he'll come out of it successfully. But as of now, whether BSP will further suffer a dip, I don't think so. They've already touched another. So where else they will go? Not because Akash Anand has been removed, so the party will suffer further. But definitely it shows how fickle-minded Mayawati is as a leader also.
Okay, so coming to Puneet, Puneet, how would you really see this? I mean, was this something which was very abrupt? And then what made her once again take this decision, knowing fully well that, the party needs a younger leadership and to revive, and then to, if she had to go ahead with this step, was there any trigger? What was the latest trigger why she had to act like this?
No, well, I don't think it was abrupt in that sense. And as Sunita just explained, the ground was kind of prepared when on the 12th of February, uh, Ashok Siddharth and Nitin Singh were, expelled from the party. So it was expected in that sense that something against Akash Anand will also is also on the offing. But now that the decision has been taken, the national coordinators have been appointed. Then there's also, Raja Ram, who's also been appointed as some sort of a coordinator. The issue, to my mind, I mean, there are a couple of different strands here that one may perhaps want to look into. One, when she says that, in that long press statement that was issued by her the other day, she talks about party दो गुटों में बट जाएगी या बांटने की कोशिश की जा रही थी, to split the party into two factions. As Sunita mentioned, the talk about anti-party activities against Akash, Ashok Siddharth, and that group. Point is, what is left of the BSP today for a split? Okay, I mean, the party is at rock bottom. Any leader of any, individually of any heft, whether financial, muscle, political, electoral, organizational, has already been expelled by Mayawati over the last few years. There are hardly any of the old timers of the BSP left in the party. So when she talks about the movement and she talks about the party and strengthening the movement, strengthening the party, taking Kashiram's vision and legacy forward, she has proved to be the biggest hurdle to that over the last few years, especially over the last few years, I'd say. The second aspect is, if the intention here was to sort of do a Kashiram by saying I am going to hold my party above any kind of family affiliations and all of that, it doesn't really cut much ice there either, because while when Kashiram, when he expelled his sister and he went ahead with Mayawati despite all odds, and there was no going back after that for Kashiram. He took a decision, he stood by it. Here, you bring Akash in, then you expel him, then you, and when he was expelled on the 7th of May last year, the thing that was said from the BSP, what was said by Mayawati was that he needs more political maturity. And within a month, he was reinstated. So, I mean, how was that political maturity, not present on the 7th of May, and it came back, a month later? and then he's been sacked again. But it's not as if, he's been sacked and nobody from the family has been brought in. It's his father who's been sort of, brought back into a key role, who continues to be BSP vice president, also national coordinator now. And then the third aspect of it is, so I mean, the whole thing of the family taking a backseat, that also doesn't exist here. The third aspect is it because Mayawati wants to now signal that I am going to, lead the movement from the front? I'll be at the vanguard, which is something that many BSP supporters have been wanting. Many, even BSP sympathizers who've been uneasy with the way Mayawati has been functioning over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, have been, hoping for that she will take the lead. She will try and rebuild the party. She will lead from the front. Is that the message that she is sending? To me, even that is unclear. Because, see, even when Kashiram was still around and very active, there was a very clear division of labor in the BSP. You had, once he had chosen Mayawati as his political successor, UP was largely left to Mayawati to handle, while Kashiram took the party's message to the rest of the country. And so there was that division of labor. Now here, what is the division of labor? You've appointed 2 national coordinators. Anand Kumar, Mayawati's brother, Akash's father, has been sort of given this kind of a clerical job. You sit in Delhi, handle the paperwork, as the press release says, handle paperwork, communication with party leaders from different states, and keep me informed. While Ramji Gautam has been told, you travel, you go to different states, especially states where elections are happening, you will rebuild the party over there. So even there's no indication that Mayawati is going to be hitting the streets. If that was the case, yes, for the BSP, there would have been, for its supporters, for its cadre, for its sympathizers, there would have been something to look forward to. Yesterday's decision doesn't give anything to look forward to. What it does do, I mean, it's wrong to write off a political party or a political leader. We've often gone wrong with those kind of predictions and all of that. But I mean, it leaves Akash, who, despite the charge of being a dynast, despite this thing that the Bahujan movement and, as Dr. Ambedkar had once said, that kings and queens and that kings in a democracy will no longer be born from the wombs of a queen. They will be born from the ballot boxes, So that was the spirit of the Bahujan movement. But I mean, despite that charge, when Akash came in, it was a time when the party was in complete doldrums. The Bahujan movement requires an aggressive voice. They look forward to an aggressive voice, a young leadership, someone who can, take on the BJP, which was at, during the Lok Sabha, because there was also the BSP, the SP and the Congress's formidable thing of safe constitution, which finds greatest resonance among the Dalits. And then you sack him. So, I mean, it confuses everybody and it leaves Akash in the lurch because, I mean, say 2 months later, Mayawati was to change her mind again and bring Akash back. Who in the party is going to take him seriously?
Absolutely, yeah. Right. So, I mean, those are really bizarre things. I mean, the way Mayawati is really moving ahead. Is she not realizing that she's playing with fire? She's playing with the future of her own party, which every party does realize that they need a younger leadership and they need to move forward with a certain plan. Is Mayawati not thinking at all by making these erratic decisions? And as Puneet said, what if she again appoints Akash Anand back maybe after 2 months or 3 months' time? So what is she doing really with her party? Is she not realizing it?
I wish everybody knew about it. Even her workers won't know what she's up to. This is the problem with this party, where she doesn't share anything with anybody. Now her brother who's voiceless, against the wishes of the Bahujan Samaj, which want a firebrand leader, aggressive, younger, educated. This is also a quality that they want in their leader, to be educated, who can, call spade a spade. They don't want somebody like Anand who's, who doesn't open his mouth, who's not visible even. People may not even recognize him if they don't get to know that he's Anand, her brother. So he's basically also involved in all the raids happened at his place. So his brother is close to her that way. But Ramji Gautam again, I think one will have to look for his picture to know who's Ramji Gautam. So, if you're looking at the movement, you're looking at the future of the party, then certainly doesn't excite you at all. Last time, there was a reason. She said he's very immature. But even if he was not immature, there was an FIR that was lodged against him. And as BJP is a very, very aggressive party, doesn't spare opponents that easily. So everybody thought maybe she doesn't want him to go to jail or, suffer like that. But this time, it's it's actually bizarre. It's actually bizarre. It's very difficult to know what she's up to. And as you said, is she not worried about a party? Had she been worried about a party, she would not have allowed the party to go so down. Even today, Mayawati is and Bahujan Samaj Party is one political party which can get votes even today. They still have control over 9% to 10% votes. It's not without a reason that Rahul is talking about Mayawati. You have the BJP talking about Mayawati, and every political party is quoting her. There is a reason, because 9 to 10% votes, Jata votes, are still with her. They deserted her in 2024 because of her silence on the constitution issue. They expected her to take up the issue, fight for it, and they found her very silent, and she disappeared from the campaigning also thereafter. So actually, Mayawati is worried about BSP. She says the movement will suffer. But is she really bothered about the movement? You talk to old Bahujan Samaj Party leaders who left the party, and I think BSP is one party which split into several groups. Yeah, there's so many Bahujan Samaj parties. You ask those leaders, when they saw BSP, the real BSP going down, they decided to extend support because they worked for the movement. They were the people who worked with Kashiram for a movement. And when they see all the efforts going waste, they really wanted to that all should come together and revive the party, bring it back in reckoning, which is not happening. So Mayawati's decision, who's taking her decision, is something very hard to understand, because she's a very, very closed person.
No,
Her
but you made an
leaders,
interesting point. You said that who's taking decisions on behalf of
yeah.
Mayawati. Uh,
Neelu, one thing I would
yes.
like to add, surprisingly, people like Rajbhar, Swami Prasad Maurya,
Hmm.
who worked with BSP for years, over a decade, and when they left, they had no love lost for any of these leaders, are very, very respectful while talking about her decision to sack Akash Anand today. I was just listening to them. No, whatever she has done to protect the movement. Of all the people, Raj was saying it. And then Swami Prasad Maurya also say it's a decision of a party. She must have taken the right decision for the movement, the Bahujan Samaj
Hmm.
movement. And
Hmm.
so this is not the language these leaders are supposed to. So
Right.
I do see a hand behind the developments, because Akash Anand perhaps wanted to run the party in a different way. He was impatient, as one could see in some of his rallies. He wanted that we should take on and let's face the consequences, which Mayawati didn't want. I have a feeling there was a difference of opinion on the way the party should be run, because the type of tweets he used to do earlier, that changed. Now he forwards the tweets. In fact, it was very interesting to read his tweets when he used to talk about Bahujan Samaj. But then he stopped after his sacking. And now, so I have a feeling. um, which I may be wrong or right, that they had differences over how to run the party. He must be wanting to revive it, for which aggression was required. They had to talk about BJP, they had to talk against other parties, whereas I think she wants to play safe. That's how I look at it.
Right. But as you said, that this is really not Mayawati. It doesn't look like Mayawati is taking decisions. Puneet, who do you think could be taking the decision? Now, time and again, there has been a perception that Mayawati is under immense pressure from the BJP because of the various cases, for which she's under the scanner. Now, has the pressure really grown to that extent that now she started taking erratic decisions? And as Sunita was pointing out, that there are several other people who are trying to justify in what she has done. So, is the pressure really growing on her from BJP's end?
Well, I mean, it is not for me to say who is pressurizing her, but see, you speak to anybody in Lucknow, you speak to anybody even in Delhi, they'll tell you this is the common refrain that Behenji bahut pressure mein hai,
Hmm.
you know. So, and then
Exactly.
you make your own, you make your own sense with that statement, you
Right.
know. So who is in a position to create, to exert that pressure?
Hmm.
The cases, old cases, new cases, all of that, and then you have to basically look at how she's been doing her politics. I mean, during the 2022 UP elections, if I'm not wrong, I believe she addressed, I think, 3 or 4 rallies in total. And while I was traveling, see, it's rather interesting, particularly Western UP. Uh, you speak to any Dalits, even, I mean, non-Jatav Dalits, they will still speak very respectfully of Mayawati. They will, they may have their problems with the way the BSP is going. They they'll express their dissatisfaction at how the movement has suffered over the last few years, but they will not take any kind of an insult for Behenji. That's one thing that was very clear. But when she started, she came, I think, just 2 days before the first phase of polling in UP. She had a rally, I believe, in Agra, if I'm not wrong. And her entire speech was about attacking the Congress and the Samajwadi Party.
Mm.
Not a word against the BJP, which was in power in the state and in the center, and against whom a sizable chunk of Dalits are rightly or wrongly agitated. You know, so that coupled with this whole reference, constant refrain about working under pressure. I mean, you can put 2 and 2 together, and I guess you'll know what kind of or where that pressure is coming from, as you asked.
Right. But Sunita, what could be the fallout now in the coming days, in the coming months? 2027, UP goes to polls. And how would you really see BSP shaping up? Will it disintegrate further? And uh, or could Akash Anand surprise everyone with a sudden decision which he could make? That also could be a possibility. What can we really, though it's going to be speculative, but how do you really see the things unfolding in BSP in the coming months?
Look, I don't expect any dramatic changes in the functioning of Mayawati. One, that's for sure. Till she, as I told you right in the beginning, it's not Akash Anand who matters so much today. Whatever he was doing, it was for the future of the BSP. Today, when we are talking about today, or say 2027 elections, it's Mayawati's election. Even today, the public, they will vote for BSP under Mayawati leadership. Now, for that, I don't see Mayawati becoming very active, because of late, whatever little tweets we have seen, it has been very, very calculative, very safe, and basically attacking all, or attacking Congress or Samajwadi Party. If she is attacking BJP, then she is attacking others also. Even when the parliament thing happened, when a constitution statement was made, Every other political party came on the streets and was making noise, but she did not. She issued a press statement. Later, Akash Anand was allowed to hold a demonstration, perhaps under pressure from her own constituency at that time. So I don't see any major announcements bringing back Akash Anand, as Puneet said, I doubt, because now it will not have any impact. So I don't see Mayawati doing anything major. I don't see anybody else in the family. She would trust with the position. Her brother is not, is not a leader. He is not a mass leader, and he will handle whatever the files will be given to him. So I don't see anything major happening in the BSP. What she wanted to do, she has done. As for you are talking about, yes, one thing more you asked was Akash Anand moving out anywhere. No, I'll tell you one thing. BSP, what you see today, is not BSP Mayawati or Akash Anand. It's the Carter. It's the network which works for the party. You really have to see the sincerity with which, the missionary zeal with which they work, even during elections. Till I think 2022 they had done. 2024 became, they were emotionally hurt because of the constitution thing. So even if Akash and why Chandrasekhar is not able to do much in Dalit politics, he has won his seat because he lacks that network and that infrastructure, and that was built by Kashiram. Kashiram was the leader. He was the leader who created the foundation, who had a vision for the future. She survived this long because of her hard work, one, because she became a Dalit icon, second, there was no other leader in the country who would match her stature when you talk about Dalit leadership. So she could come this far. To go further, I don't see her vision at all. So leadership would matter later. First, she needs to have a vision for the party and the movement that she talks about.
Puneet, coming to you for the concluding comments. So, what would one conclude with the developments which have happened yesterday? And is it like political suicide by Mayawati? Because that's a heading of the piece which you have also written.
Well,
Agreed.
I mean that's up for discussion whether it is suicide or not. As I said, it's different people will have different opinions. We don't write off a political party because of one decision or one person moving out. But I think the impact of what's happened yesterday and collectively with what has been happening, or over the last 5 years, is not so much within the BSP, but to my mind, the impact is what is going to happen outside the BSP, which is with the 20, 21%, 22% Dalit vote of Uttar Pradesh when UP goes to polls in 27, or when you have the next general elections in 29. And see, in 2022, in fact, when I was covering the UP elections, I did a very detailed piece on how there was a very clear sense from the ground that the Dalit vote was disintegrating, and that Mayawati may ultimately be left with just just the Jatav votes of her party, and maybe a few of the old dedicated cadre vote of the BSP, as Sunita mentioned. The vote that is loyal to Kashiram's vision of the movement. And eventually that is what happened, right? They came down to from 22% vote share to about 12%. And the election became bipolar, which is also one factor. Now, and then the Lok Sabha was a wipeout for the party. What has been happening is the BJP as well as the SP, both these two, both the parties have largely been focusing on somehow weaning away the non-Jata Dalit votes from the BSP. But will this decision, if there is further disintegration of the BSP, does that also open up the Jata voter to, does that open that 10%? Because it's got, if you look at that Dalit vote, the 20% in UP, it's almost 50% of Jatas and then 50% of the rest. So does it open up that 50% also, which so far was not was considered to be a captive vote bank of the BSP? So is that up for grabs now? Will the Congress, will the SP, will the BJP be more aggressive in appealing also to the Jatavs, as they've been trying to with the non-Jatavs, with the Pasis and the Dhobis and the other, the Koris and the other Dalit subcastes? So I think the impact lies beyond the BSP. What is happening within the BSP? I think we're all seeing what's happening with them. For the last 2 elections, 3 elections, we've been seeing what's happening with them. But I think the impact lies beyond that.
So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold in BSP. We'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Sunita ji, for joining. Thank you so much, Puneet. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.